Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with a breaking news alert. The death toll now tops 100, and the positive case count for COVID-19 is now over 2,000 in Minnesota. New numbers out just today show 2,071 people have tested positive since the pandemic started. 111 people have died. 223 people are in the hospital, and 106 of them are in the ICU. On the brighter side, more than half of the positive cases have recovered, at 1,066 people no longer needing isolation. In North Dakota, the state now has 439 positive cases, an increase of 46 from the day before. Most of those new cases are in Cass County. 16 people are currently in the hospital, but 172 people have recovered from the virus. The death toll remains at 9, which it has now for a few days. Taking that live look outside on this Friday afternoon, blue skies, sun, pretty clouds out there, looking pretty good. Let's get a check of what we have for the rest of our Friday forecast with meteorologist Justin Fanfarelli.
And thank you, Jordan. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, we started off cold once again. Low temperatures around the region. We're into the 20s, but temperatures are rebounding nicely. Here's a look at the current temperatures outside. We're near 40 out toward Thief River Falls, Bemidji, but up and down the Red River Valley out toward Jamestown and Devil's Lake, down toward Sisseton, mid to some places upper 40s right now. Now, the winds have flipped around to a nice southerly direction, and they're starting to pick up. Wind speeds around 15 to 30 miles per hour. That combined with the sunshine that we have out there will warm us up pretty nicely. Just a few more clouds as you make your way from the Fargo, Ada area out toward Detroit Lakes, Boston, and Bemidji. Everybody else having a good amount of sunshine. So sunshine and warm temperatures will be the story as we go through the afternoon. As temperatures will get into the upper 40s to lower 50s, depending on where you are, with the sunshine and the nice southerly wind. We'll tell you what to expect as we go through the weekend with a nice dry weather pattern coming up and a nice warm up continuing. We'll tell you how warm we'll get coming up later in the newscast.
Look forward to the heat. Thank you, Justin. New at noon, today is not a good day to light up that brush pile or have a bonfire. The North Dakota Forest Service says fire danger is high to very high in the entire state. Now here's the map for it. Yellow is high and orange is considered very high. This means fires start easily and they spread rapidly. Last year in the state, more than 6,300 acres were burned by wildfires, and most of those fires were caused by people. Crews are looking into what started a South Fargo fire that killed 2 dogs. Firefighters were called around 9 last night to the 1700 block of 20th Avenue South to find a home filled with smoke, but no fire. According to officials, the homeowner returned from work to find thick black smoke in his place. Unfortunately, his 2 dogs died. At this time, officials say the fire burned itself out, but the cause is still under investigation. The Minnesota Fire Marshal is reminding people not to try and sanitize their cloth face mask in the microwave. Now, take a look at what doing that can do. Fire officials say it could start a fire, especially if the face mask has any metal in it. Instead, you should wash your cloth face mask in the washing machine. The CDC has other tips for keeping the mask clean, and you can find those by going to our VNL News app. Governor Tim Walz is among 7 governors to form a regional pact that will coordinate when to reopen their respective economies. Minnesota will be working with Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. The governors say the pact does not mean their economies will all reopen at the same time, but they said it would be more effective to work together to phase in the different economic sectors. The governors will work with experts to take a data-driven approach to reopening the economy while protecting people from the spread of the virus. Meanwhile, more protesters are expected outside the Minnesota governor's mansion today as people push for the state to reopen. This was the scene yesterday when people gathered for the same reason. Protesters say they need to get back to work to pay their bills and back to normal life for their mental health. The governor's stay-at-home order was extended until May 4th. Governor Tim Walz is set to take questions from journalists today about the situation in Minnesota, and that will happen at 2 this afternoon. Those protests were not limited to just Minnesota. They were happening from coast to coast against those stay-at-home orders. But one state that definitely won't be reopening by the end of the month is hard-hit New York. Gabe Gutierrez reports from that state.
this morning as the death toll surges past 12,000 in New York. Governor Andrew Cuomo has extended the state's stay-at-home order until at least May 15th.
What happens after then, I don't know. We will see depending on what the data shows.
Mayor Bill de Blasio says New York City, now facing $7.5 billion in lost revenue, won't start returning to normal until July at the earliest. Across the country, protests are spreading from Texas to North Carolina to Virginia.
I'm out here today because I don't think that the government really has any business telling us what we can and cannot do.
And Minnesota, where there's a strict stay-at-home order until May 4th.
We want the governor to know that we have a voice too, and we are here, and we don't want to be on lockdown anymore.
Like groups of states in the Northeast and on the West Coast have already done, governors from 7 Midwestern states are now banding together to coordinate how to reopen their economies. Ohio now says its stay-at-home order will expire on May 1st with safeguards.
The world that we're going to see is a different world. You're going to see people with masks. You're going to see people where there's a lot of sanitizers.
Los Angeles County has seen 3 straight days of record-high death rate.
Deaths aren't statistics, they are stories. They aren't numbers, they are lives.
And officials there predict all large gatherings could be banned until at least 2021. Some communities on the West Coast that saw the country's earliest social distancing restrictions are now taking small steps to a new normal. In Santa Cruz, California, surfers are catching waves again after beaches and parks reopened.
Woohoo! I'm so excited.
But nearby, counties in the San Francisco Bay Area are still under stay-at-home orders, and some locals are worried crowds might be tempted to congregate.
In our consumer alert this afternoon, 2/3 of employees are currently working remotely at least part of the week as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. According to a new survey from Clutch, 44% say it's 5 or more days a week. The survey says not having a commute is people's favorite part of working at home. Employees also enjoy a more flexible schedule. The least favorite part is difficulty collaborating. About 27% say interruptions and distractions are also a challenge of remote work. The popular video chat app Zoom that you probably use for work is set to roll out plans to improve security. One of the biggest security issues facing Zoom is a surge in Zoom bombing. That's when uninvited guests break into and disrupt meetings. According to ZDNet, the company has hired a firm that specializes in managing bug bounty programs. Those are hackers who look for vulnerabilities. We have some good news for you on this Friday. People in Lakes Country of Minnesota are coming together by the hundreds to support small businesses. Now, take a look at all the cars that are parked outside the Palace Cafe in Frazee. This was the scene last night for Burger Night at that restaurant. The cafe had to cut hours earlier because of the pandemic and government restrictions. But last night alone, the cafe says it put out 528 burgers. For perspective, the city of Frazee has about 1,300 people. Now, if you see good in your community, let us know. We would love to spread the message. Coming up here at noon, how Lady Gaga and Jimmy Fallon are teaming up to make your Saturday night a bit more enjoyable. We'll explain. But next, Justin Fanfarelli is in with what you need to know as the temperature slowly creeps toward the warmer side on this Friday.